Welcome to the Send More Offers Real Estate Show with Brandon Barnes, showing you how to do wholesaling deals consistently without having to go on seller appointments. Learn the key tips and strategies that Brandon's students use to find deeply discounted properties that are pennies on the dollar, all while avoiding wear and tear on their vehicle, body, and freedom. Whether you're looking for your first deal or your next deal, it's time to send more offers with your host, Brandon Barnes.
Hey, Keston, welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you. How are you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm doing phenomenal, bro. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to have this conversation, man. Since we met up that last time, I think Pace and Jamil were in town and we were just chatting about doing deals. You really blew me away with your strategy of going after finding deals that you could take down, being able to exit successfully. So I'm so excited to get into that. How was your beginning into real estate? How was your entry? Because a lot of what we talked about was being able to do creative deals, but did it start with that? Tell me about how it was in the beginning.
Not at all, bro. So my journey in real estate started in 2020, right? Let's say 2019. 2019, like my wife and I, we were doing other businesses because I'm the type that from the time I met my wife, I'm like, we got to do a business together. Right. So we had Amazon business. We had like t-shirt printing business. We did Uber together. Like we did a bunch of stuff together. And I think that was really prep for learning how to work together because we got married really early. Like 6 months after we met, we got married and it was just this thing. And I insisted that it was a vision I know that from God, where I had to work in entrepreneurship with my wife. And so at the end of 2019, I remember saying to her like, hey, okay, we've tried all this stuff, but I've been doing some research and I think real estate is what we should commit to and not change, figure it out. And I went to like one of those 3-day conferences, seminars in January of 2020. And man, we took the leap that we invested like 30 grand into this mentorship and jumped. And at the same time, I was a cybersecurity engineer and we lived in New York. So I used to work on Wall Street, great 6-figure paying job and things were good, but I knew that there was more to life. And so once we started real estate, man, the world changed, right? So January 2020, by March, the world shut down. Like everything kind of just disappeared. The company that we had joined, they disappeared. And so things was kind of crazy. And it was one of the coaches from the company, man, he kept on going and he was still there for us because in that moment, you're kind of faced with this woe is me type of mindset, right? It's like, see, I knew this wasn't for us or whatever. Cause again, we just spent 30 grand that we didn't have, took out a loan to be able to do this mentorship program. And here this company goes and disappears. So once we talked and was like, you know what, we're just going to try to figure it out. Then I started to see that this coach, he just wanted to continue and keep his word based on, he was the guy in front of the room. So his word was he was going to be there for us no matter what. And he kept his word, bro. And doing that, like I was trying to start putting out offers, wholesaling. Like when I was on my lunch break, I would go and start calling on my lunch break. So I would go in like the offices and start calling people on Zillow, right? And here's a tip for everyone, because most people don't like calling persons on Zillow, but here's what my coach had us do. He had us practice calling listings on Zillow, but in an area you will never, ever, ever want to do business in. The reason for that is because building your confidence and getting on the phone, like, dude, when I started talking, I was trembling. I felt like an imposter. It was like, I'm not an investor, but I'm telling people I'm an investor trying to get this deal, right? So made those calls, got over that fact of I was a beginner, and then things started to roll a little bit better. And so by July, and this is not advice for anyone, because like I shared with you before, we were hustling. We had several different things going on. And I just felt like I needed more hours in the day because I was doing Uber from 4 to like 6:30. From 7 o'clock, I'm on the train going to my 9 to 5 job. When I come back home, we're printing t-shirts, right? So like, I felt like I had no more time in the day because I'm like, yo, how do people get to this $1 million? Like, how do you do this?
Right.
And so that's when I hired a high performance coach, man, because I just knew that there was things that I didn't know at this point because I had the work ethic. So now it was like, I just don't know how to make this possible. So I had my high performance coach. And at the same time, probably about 3 to 4 weeks in, we decided to I was going to leave my 9 to 5 job. Now, there's a lot of other moving pieces at the same time, but it was right around then we decided that I was going to leave my 9 to 5 job because my job, they were laying people off, right? Like COVID was rocking the world.
Right.
They were laying people off, but they were giving severance packages, right? Okay. So my job was safe because they needed more cybersecurity people. So my boss was like, bro, we ain't got nothing to worry about. We're good. But I'm looking at this 6 months pay and saying, man, if I had 6 months with more time, I could get the bag. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in one of the meetings, man, I raised my hand, talked to my wife, and then I was like, yo, I'll take it. Everybody was like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And we were in New York and we were going to move to Atlanta. They were like, dude, you can work in Atlanta. It's no problem. You do cybersecurity. Like everyone's home anyway. And I'm like, nah, I don't want it. Give me that 6 month severance package. I know it seems crazy, but I felt like I had direction. I had a coach that showed me and proved that he was willing to stick through it with us through thick and thin. And then I had a high performance coach that was helping me with my productivity and just helping me understand the things that I needed to work on. And I felt like that support was there. July 1st, 2020 was my last day of work. That's when I let go of the shackles. And from July 1st to December, we did 1.5 times my 6-figure salary, bro, in wholesale.
Jesus. Double bomb for that.
Dude, so now it's just like we're rocking and rolling, right? The confidence is building. It's like, man, I know we can do this. But there was still something that made me be like, hold on, bro. If I got to show up every single time to get a check, what does that look like? So it made me kind of go back to the drawing board because I didn't want another job. And I felt like wholesaling was another job for me. And shout out to everyone that's incredible wholesalers. This just was not my why in getting into real estate. My why was to have freedom.
Right.
So that made me go to the drawing board and start reverse engineering and say, I need cash flow. Cash flow is the only thing compared to when you have a 9 to 5 job that's going to pay you every month, just like your job. So I'm like, I need cash flow. Yeah. So that made I joined other mentorships to help me with sales and creative financing. And once I jumped into creative financing, bro, in 2021, that's when we went from 1 to 21 doors in 2021. And that's in between we were wholesaling and all that type of stuff, the deals that we didn't want, but the deals that we kept, that's what we did in 2021. And after that, we started buying multifamily in 2022. And so now we're at 52 doors. And so that cash flow coming in, that was the goal. That was the freedom that we were after. And so that's kind of my real estate journey. And, buying all of those properties, bro, was no money out of my pocket. Matter of fact, I was in debt. I told you, like, we had spent the 30K, then we went into other mentorships, and I just kept racking up the debt because I believed that the investment was in me.
Yeah.
The debt was something that was like, it wasn't real. It was the thing that kept me out from being in the right rooms. And it was just a matter of time once I started pouring into me and my wife that we could take that knowledge and go out and create it and change our lives, bro. Change our lives.
Love it. Good stuff. And there's a few things I want to tackle here. But to your point, always just having faith and trusting the process is what gets you through those days of doubt and, hey, how's my next deal going to come? But doing enough of the right activities. Like I've always found that, even when, hey, you be at your lowest, like when's the next one going to come through? If you stay consistent and following your process, right? That's where mentors are super helpful for making sure that you're working on the right things. The next one will come. Like the next deal will open, the door for you, whether it's a JV deal, you got a buddy, a buyer. That's what I love about this. And then, it's just kind of doing the right activities. Let's dig deeper into that 2021 year, like those first 21 doors. So you learn how to do creative financing. Did you go after a certain niche? Because, creative financing is a whole bag of tricks. It could be subject to where you're taking over a mortgage, or it could be owner finance where it's like free and clear and the owner becomes the bank. Like which niche did you target? How did it look? Give us some details.
Bro, so this is where it's a mixture of the cybersecurity, digging in and analyzing data. I think this is what comes in, right? And so I took a step back and I'm like, my goal was really to get 30 or more doors, right? I still fell short from the goal.
That was a lofty goal for your first year, bro. I would have started at 10 and then double my goal.
See, for me, it's all about belief, man. When you believe, everything could be structured because in a KPI, do we put more energy and money here? Do we focus here? Like, what do we need to blow up? Right. So I looked at it and I'm like, all right, what do I not need to do? So at the time, a lot of people were doing pre-foreclosures and door knocking. I'm like, I can't do that strategy because it's too slow. The pre-foreclosure process is just too slow for me. Vacant properties, that's not going to help me. I'm not trying to burr anything. That process takes too long. So, Kes, what type of deals do you go after? I wanted tired landlords and expired listings. Like after I thought through the entire process, I'm like, tired landlords and expired listings. Why? The reason why is because a tired landlord, they're a landlord and now they just want to sell their property.
Right.
I knew that creative financing was the way that I wanted to go. So what I did was I then said, I want a tired landlord that owned this property for more than 10 years. Why more than 10 years? Because there are people who fell into being a landlord, right? So they moved and they didn't sell their homes. I don't want to speak to that person. I wanted to speak to someone who they were in the business. And so another filter that I used was they own their properties for more than 10 years, but I also wanted them to own more than 4 properties. That was the number for me. I don't know why. I kind of just pulled it out of my butt, right? I'm like, I want them to have at least more than 4 properties. Again, why? I want real investors. I want people who has been in the game for a long time and have more than 1 property. There's more behind that, and I'll tell you why again in a little while.
Okay.
I wanted them to also have tried to sell at least one of their properties within the last 2-3 years. It didn't matter. It didn't have to be the last 6 months. It just had to be within the last few years. The reason being is because now I know you've tried to sell this property, and the fact that you didn't sell it, now you're holding on to it, but it's not by design. It's because you just didn't sell it. So the listing failed. So when I compound
Smart.
all those different things on top of each other, now I could see this is a motivated person, but it's not only a motivated person. When I call them and I try to talk to them about creative financing, do you think more than likely they have either sold a property to one of their tenants on like a lease to own or one of those, like they've heard about subject to, they've heard about seller finance. They're not new, right? So more than likely, my pitch, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I heard of that. Boom. That's my person. That's what I want them to say. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Once I hear them say that, then now the conversation is super easy because now I'm not talking to a newbie. Now I'm not like trying to explain everything and back and forth and they don't trust the process. And I tried to filter out all the unnecessary conversations. Could I have bought a pre-foreclosure property? Yeah, but it would have taken me a long time. Could I have convinced somebody who had just
Never knew about
had
it.
a prop? I didn't want to speak to them. Speed was my thing. I wanted speed. I wanted to talk to my ideal client, right? So
Love it. That's a gem for folks listening to really dial in, like who their avatar is, right? Who are they trying to go after? And even if you're wholesaling, right, that is super important to know that for your marketing, if you take a step back, because there's brute strength, right, in marketing. But if you really dial it in, you can be super creative. And what I love about this is that you went with the end in mind, wanting to purchase and pick up doors as quick as possible. I'll ask this follow-up question. You sound like a professor in the lab coming up with the perfect criteria. Are there other criteria that you've thought of, that you've tried that didn't work? Was this the first experiment with like, hey, this is my specific niche? Or are there other things out there that you think people can kind of dial in for their specific type of property that will allow them to acquire doors?
So, and this is something I help a lot of my clients with and other people, right? Like, I need to understand what's your end goal. From your end goal, then we could reverse engineer what type of list you should go after. For example, yesterday, I helped someone, she wanted to do 10K a month. And in asking her, like, what type of lists that she's pulling and all that type of stuff, she's going after properties that wouldn't match her goal. And so it's like, nah, shorty, here's the thing. You're trying to do 10K a month consistently. Like, yes, you could do pre-foreclosures, but pre-foreclosures is going to have a runway time. It's all good, but just understand that it ain't going to happen this month, more than likely, right? Like, and again, of course, there's the perfect timing and all of that. Like, they're just on the auction block, and to build out a business, there's going to be a time that the process, right? Your strategy could be all properties that's on auction and has an auction date and all that type of stuff, so you move fast, but that should be a filter, right? So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. That's what I'm able to help reverse engineer. So for me, it was, I want doors. It's the fastest way to get doors. Like, if you want doors, but time isn't a big deal, please go after pre-foreclosures. You get a nicer house in pre-foreclosure because this is someone that's living in the house and they just haven't been able to pay for whatever reason. So you'll get a nicer house, a house that you want to live in a pre-foreclosure. The way that I went about it, it's a rental property, right? So like, it's just a different psychology depending on the goal.
And I know we're going to talk about this and you're going to share, so everybody has to stay tuned for, the type of coaching program that you do, and you really help your students shift their paradigm and tackle their goals. I think part of that is kind of mapping out what they want to do. And like you said, reverse engineering how to target that goal. And I know you're working with a lot of real estate investors and other folks, but we'll save kind of sharing, exactly more about that for the end. And so I love it that, you are able to help folks see, hey, reverse engineer what you want today. So you went from this, it was successful, 21 doors, and then you mentioned shifting to a multifamily strategy. What was the reason behind that? Was it, hey, I could do something different, or it was just time to level up? Tell me about that.
So I'll be quite honest, bro. For me, multifamily was one of those things that I always wanted to do. My wife, she's more of the let's creep before we run and walk kind of thing, right? I'm a let's just start running,
Yeah.
And so we started off as single family because my wife was like, hey, let's just start here. And I'm like, all right, cool. But I knew I wanted to get into multifamily. And what I started doing, I also know that I'm a long learner. You and I could be in the class, bro, and I'm going to be in the back of the class to start because I got to go back and learn something over and over and over and listen to it over and over. But my consistency is what keeps me and make me pass people in the long run, right? So what I started doing was I joined this multifamily Facebook group, and I was a fly on the wall. I didn't participate at all. But every month or so, I would go in there and just read a bunch of the posts and get my mind kind of familiar with it. And one day, dude, one of the guys was like, hey, we're meeting up in Georgia. Anybody from Georgia that wants to meet up, come. And I'm like, man, I'm going to go. They were going to meet in Woodstock. And I lived in Mableton at the time. So it's like a good 45-minute drive, right? I'm like, you know what? Again, I don't know anyone, never spoke to anyone. I'm like, I'm going to show up. So I pulled up to the spot and they were going around the room introducing themselves, right? And I'm just like, oh man, cool. And so once I shared what I did, I'm like, hey, my name is Keston and my superpower is talking to sellers and raising capital. And I shared with them, being able to, at that point in time, we were probably at 15 doors or something like that because it wasn't 2021.
Yeah.
And they were just kind of like, whoa, you did what and what? And I'm like, and so I kept in touch with them because they weren't great at sales and creative finance. So they reached out to me after a few months, wanted me to call some of their sellers to try to see if this creative finance thing would work. So they kept reaching out to me, bro, until they came with a deal under contract. And they were like, hey, Keston, here's this deal under contract. Could you help us raise 1.7 million for this deal? And I was like, sure. I'm like, let's do it. And at the same time, so once I'm like, all right, cool. Now I got to raise this 1.7. I had never raised 1.7 in one shot before. And so I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to figure this out. Somebody heard that I wanted to raise this money, bought somebody to me that had the money, and boom, in the deal. And that was it. So that's how I really got started in multifamily, bro. It was somebody bought the deal to me. Somebody bought the money to me. And there it was. That's how I got started in multifamily.
Wow. And so with that, and just in particular, the guy that bought the lender to you, was he also part of the Facebook group, part of the local meetup, or was this just off to the side? You told people what you were doing?
Here's what I had going on at the time. I used to have these things called the virtual office, where I had a bunch of real estate investors, wholesalers, we'd have 30 people in there, and I would make my seller calls on there every single day, right? Every day. And people would come in and make their calls and bro, I created this selfishly for me because when I'm in front of people, I perform better, right? I'm better on the phone.
The showman.
So they're making calls and it just became a culture. It still exists to this day, bro. Like we can both log into the virtual office right now because that culture of people coming together to make calls together, it made us perform better. And so one of the guys from in the virtual office, he heard me talking about this deal and I'm like, dang, bro, I got to find this money. I don't know where to find this money at.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, Kes, I might have somebody for you, bro. Like,
nice.
And he bought somebody in the virtual office. Like 2 days later, the guy flew in 2 days later and bro, we just got it going right there and then.
Wow. Name drop the virtual office setup. Is it that's something that's open to the public or?
No, it's not. It's not even open to the public. It's not like there's no official thing. And I'm actually going to be making it a public thing coming soon because that concept, bro, I've seen so many people go from zero to hero in the virtual office simply because they're around other people, right? Like they're seeing other people and hearing conversations. And so sometimes when you get cursed out and you're alone, you don't need to quit because somebody else just got cursed out, but we're all together. So the energy of being together keeps you going. And so that's what really the virtual office did. It just had a lot of people just come up, bro, and people who are like stars now, so to speak, especially in some of the communities, they came from the virtual office. I've seen them make their first calls. I've seen them suck. I've seen like people that was in Closers Olympics came up through the virtual office. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So
like, well, yeah. And I know you're going to make it public at some point. So you guys, you have to stay tuned to the AM so you can get how to follow Keston. And so as soon as it comes live, you'll be the first to hear about it. So, you start going down that path for multifamily. Do you start pulling your list with certain criteria? How are you going about attracting that seller of the multifamily deals?
So that's when things changed. Once I started doing multifamily, that's when things changed. Strategy changed. So I moved my strategy because now it's not a need. Now it's just something that we're doing, right? Because cash flow is covering like everything. We got Airbnbs, so we're good on that side. So now it goes from pulling lists to being loud. Mm-hmm. So it became more of social media. It became more of keeping, I used to do this Wednesday event where I would teach people how to get into multifamily and underwrite deals and all of that. So for a year, I was pumping out, bringing on a bunch of experts, and it was practically like a podcast, but we did it on Zoom. And becoming more of the guy that did multifamily, people just throw you deals, man. And so you help more people. I was just helping people, and that's how the deals was coming in. And I mean, even today, somebody is like, hey, funny enough, this kind of just hit me. Funny enough, the guy that bought the multifamily deal to me today was the same guy who I bought the first 48 unit property with that bought the contract to me. So that connection is still there. And now they're like my team that's doing all that stuff, because to tell you that I'm a fantastic underwriter would be a lie. I would be lying. To tell you that I'm a fantastic anything. I am a fantastic attention grabber. People bring deals to me because I'm loud, and I have a team that takes care of everything else. Right. And so that's kind of just the way, here, this will blow your mind, bro. This will blow your mind. Peep this.
Yeah.
In the 3 years I've been in real estate, I have never done a contract. Ever.
Oh my goodness.
Ever. My wife.
That's wow.
And my team takes care of that. Can I explain a contract to a seller? All the way through. But I've never done a contract.
As wow.
Because I've always been team-based.
As wow. I love it, man. And to your point, I mean, putting yourself out there and letting people know what it is that you do, like that is the best way to start to just keep putting the right activity together, and you start to attract stuff. A law of reciprocity, right? Giving your time to others, you'll start to receive for sure. Before I let you off with, talking to sellers, creative deal making, multifamily, just give us some tips on what it is that allows you to be so strong with these homeowners or business owners that you're able to put these creative deals together. What would you tell the person that's listening that says, hey, I'm going to go after some of these, I'll get the mentorship, but what was your secret sauce and your superpower to being able to get these homeowners, these business owners to like you, to trust you, and you be able to put the deal together?
Bro, the truth is, my secret sauce is that I care. I care, and I care genuinely. And so when I'm on the phone with someone, I may not be the most articulate salesperson. I'm pretty good at sales, but when the decision making, and I've been in this situation so many times. Matter of fact, there's been one time where someone that I know and me was going after the same deal. And so we would meet and laugh about it afterwards, but I won that contract. Why? Because I cared more. And so when it comes to listening to a seller, listening to their pain, listening to their reasons as to why they want to sell, I could hear what people aren't saying. And I think that's what probably makes me a good coach as well, right?
That's dope. I love that. Man, good stuff. Before, we go further, I want to double back to something that you mentioned like early on about doing everything with your wife, right? I know there's some listeners, that will consider partners or being in real estate with their spouse. I myself, man, my wife's the retail agent. We've tried to do some investment deals and stuff together. And, it always hasn't worked out as best as possible, but we have a dotted line. I say we have a dotted line between the two of us. No direct reports. That's a happy wife, happy life. What has worked for you and your wife to keep you guys able to work together? Have you split responsibilities and communicate it? Like, what's your secret sauce to that success?
I'm going to tell you what it is and then break it down, right?
Yeah.
The secret sauce to that is commitment. Commitment. That's the secret sauce. The reason why is because it has been hell. Like, bro, it started off as hell, literally. And there were many times I wanted to quit. There were many times I wanted to be like, yo, we're not doing this no more. Like this whole idea, like just do you, I do me. Many times we've been at that junction, but
so you are human.
No, 100%.
You are human. Okay.
Oh, dude. I joke about this all the time, bro. And I say this to her. I'm like, babe, I fire you like once a week in my mind. Like,
right.
Literally, I don't.
Yeah.
Dude. But it's the commitment to the end goal of the vision that I have for my family. This is how I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as this guy that did business with his wife and blew it up in ways that it's not really praised today. And so part of my mission is to give hope in that area. And so because that's my mission, it makes me recommit to making it work. Now, to break down some of the things that we've done, we say affirmations to each other a lot. I used to be able to say every day, but we've kind of fell off on the everyday, but a lot. And the affirmations we say to each other, looking in each other's eyes, are typically based on the struggles that we were having. Mm-hmm. Right? So any struggle that we had, and it started off with 2, but now it's like 8. Now it's like 8 affirmations, right? So we would say we're a team. We are one. We communicate effectively and in love. We bring out the best in each other. We choose to love. Like we talk to each other and not at each other. Like we forgive each other. Like all those things, bro, are all things that we didn't do. And so we spoke it into existence, looking at each other, knowing damn well that it's not the truth today. Yeah. But it's what we were working towards. And we're also a part of married groups. Now we're a part of a group called Lovepreneurs, which is a group of people, couples doing business together. Dope. Nice. Super dope. And that guidance and all of that has kept us, because we have friends and people trying to work together to do the same thing. So you put yourself in a community of people doing the same thing, you're more than likely to be more successful than feeling like you're on your own and can't talk to people about, man, I'm going through this. My wife did this, just having that space and having people that understood. I couldn't go to my parents and talk about what we're doing. They're not successful entrepreneurs right now. I love them to death, but they're not. Right. They don't know how to deal with taxes, and all that type of stuff for where we're at. So I had to find the right people to help us stay on track, to encourage us and all that type of stuff. So the commitment started it, but then we started to get the tools and all that stuff from just being around other entrepreneur couples.
Very cool. Very cool. Good stuff. Well, look, and I know we're going to break down and talk about the coaching that you do, but I can't let you go without putting you through the lightning round. Are you ready for that?
Let's do it.
All right. Cool. So look, I have a series of rapid fire questions. You don't know the question. I don't know your answers. So just say the very first thing that comes to your mind. What is one book that's been instrumental to your growth as a real estate investor?
Everything. So as a real estate investor, it would be a sales book. You can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar.
I like that one. Good stuff. If you could have drinks or coffee with any one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Who would it be? It would be Steve Harvey. I remember reading his book, Jump, at the perfect time. That's when I was going from being a DJ. I used to be an international DJ, to stop being a DJ. I didn't choose real estate or anything yet, but in reading that book helped me come out of that pit that I was going in, because that identity crisis that I was going through, that book really helped me. His mission as to what he does and all of that. I'll definitely want to chop it up with Steve Harvey.
Good stuff. What is your best advice for someone looking to do their very first creative finance deal?
Think about checkpoints. And what I mean by checkpoints are, like when you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog and you get to a certain area and you hit the checkpoint, or Mario Brothers and you get to that checkpoint, and when you die, you just go back to the checkpoint and not to the beginning.
Yeah.
Checkpoints are important because in doing your first deal, you might struggle to get that first person to say yes to your creative deal. That's a checkpoint. But then now you need to find private money. And so you might lose the deal because you didn't know how to raise private money. And so now you need to go raise private money, and now you need to learn that. But what I see most people do is that they try to go all the way back to the start and mean like, man, I suck. And like, no. Checkpoint. You came from here to here. Checkpoint. Now you still got to continue on, learn something new, and build your skill set. So checkpoints are super important to keep people motivated and keep them going.
I love it. We didn't talk too much about the creative finance, raising private capital, but I think we spoke about this before. I mean, I think your advice was to, that a lot of resources and money and wealth is in your network and you're not just tapping into it. Is that kind of what you would advise somebody to do? Like if they're listening to this, they're wanting to do some of these deals, would you say, hey, start to communicate within your network and branch out from there?
Definitely start communicating it with your network. And bro, a good deal. Like, would you be walking down the street and leave $100 if you've seen it on the floor? Would you just walk past it?
Probably not. A good deal is just like that. Like if you're in the right groups, the right network, like
you have a good deal, you put it out there, and an investor is going to see that like $100 on the floor and be like, I'll take it. Here's money. Here's my return, right? And so that's how I look at it. I always believe that I will versus that I can't. And that allows me to see opportunity everywhere, bro. Everywhere.
Big facts. Love it. Look, what is one mistake on a deal specifically or business in general that if you could do it over, you would take that do over?
I had a deal in Macon, Georgia. And it's hard for me to say that I would take a do-over because I'm always like this helped built me kind of guy, right? But I had a deal in Georgia in Macon, where it was, I think it was like 22 duplexes, bro. This was like not one of my first deals, but I think it was damn near close. Like in 2021 when I wanted to start holding property. Mm-hmm. And like, dude, it was right there. It was like right there. And I'm not sure what I did wrong. Well, now I'm going to say that I didn't lock in the pain properly to get the seller to commit to selling me those properties. And he ghosted me. He ghosted me, bro. And in that moment, it hurt. And when I look back now, I'm grateful because I don't really like investing in Macon as much as I do in Warner Robins. And so I ended up leaving Macon alone after that experience, and I went to Warner Robins. So it kind of propelled me forward in a sense. Yeah. But when I look back, that deal, and I should go post on social media about that deal. Now that you remind me, like, bro, that deal had me feeling like King Tut, bro. I was like, yo, we coming out hot. Like,
well, look, that's a good point, and I want to make sure people hear that is, you know, you talked throughout this episode about, you know, caring more than the next and really building rapport, listening to pain points. I mean, like that at the end of the day, you know, if you really want to be a great investor, right, it is doing those things. It's listening, being human, caring, and to your point, really focusing on the pain, right? The problem solving that would help them, you know, really lock in with you versus, you know, all about the deal, the numbers and this and that. So that's super, super helpful. I think more helpful than, you know, some people even think about, right? Good stuff. What's the financial goal that you guys have set for this calendar year for your team? Like, is it, you know, so many doors? Like, give us a goal that you have for your team.
So the team for real estate, the financial goal for real estate is we want to do, and this one is more fuzzy than it is clear, because right now we're going to do, it's $20K a month passive every month, right?
Nice.
Like we could add on to it. And so again, like I'm not marketing to get deals, but deals are coming to me. So I'll be lying to say I have this is the goal that I want for real estate. I more have a goal for my coaching company because that's my main focus right now. So I'll be lying to you to say that I have a super clear goal for my real estate. I just want that to be maintained and you know, bump the rent, that kind of thing. Exactly. Because actually we're going to refinance one of the multifamily properties and pull out a significant set of money out of it. So again, it's not that it's a goal, but it's like these things are going to happen, you know? So
love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, and just for people to understand, like, you know, with the work that you did and, you know, when you were first going after some of those single family properties, I know you pulled a significant, you know, amount of revenue out of those deals and kind of maybe bundled them up and started to go after multifamily. For all that stuff that happened so fast, like within a span of a year, just so people have something to aspire to, like, you know, what were you trying to pull out, like out of all the work that you did for the single family? Like how much in value was that to you, your business, your family?
How much in value is it to me now?
Yeah. Well, just give folks a feel for, you know, in the span of a year, we were able to add X amount to our bottom line for that year worth of single family doors.
I can tell you where we're at now. and maybe we could reverse engineer that, right? So right now we're at 10 million in real estate, right?
Love it.
Going back to 2021. And the reason why is because there was a lot of monopoly, right? And so selling these and moving the money here, 1031 in it over there. And so
look,
mentally for me,
that's about enough, because I don't want to get too much personal and you guys details, but like that's enough for people to get a sense of the scope of what you're able to accomplish in a very short period of time using creative deal making, really, working with lenders and really just caring, right? And to do deals like, 10 mil in real estate in a very short period of time is why this business is so great. And there's so much value in real estate and entrepreneurship, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Last thing with that is you woke up tomorrow, $500 million deposited into your account overnight. What's the first thing that you will go out and purchase with that newfound money?
Bro, I'm looking for a business to buy.
There you go. Super smart.
Like if I get a bulk of money, the first thing I'm doing is buying a business, buying another business that cash flows. I'll probably drop some money in multifamily. I want to live off of cash flow, bro. I don't want to live off of cash at all. So I'll take that cash flow and go buy a car or go buy something else, but it got to be from the cash flow.
Good stuff. What's your advice for the person that's out there is listening, that's looking to scale their business, right? They're looking to scale, they're looking to grow. How would you advise that person?
Get a business coach. Getting a business coach has been the single best thing that we have done for our business, because in getting into real estate, bro, you don't really think about it as a business as much as it is, like, at least for me. And so anyone that gets into this business and don't have a business coach, somebody to guide them, to help you with the things that you may not be seeing and the things that you don't know, it has relieved so much pressure. And this also goes to one of your previous questions as to how, like, this helps my wife and I be on the same page, because it's super clear as to what our jobs are. There's no arguments anymore, because it's like, you're here, I'm here. These are our roles and responsibilities. And it's just such a clear path in them helping you structure all like your accountability, and they help us run our meetings and all that type of stuff, bro. Hands down. You want to scale, and people put scale before they actually get the business to run. And my coach calls it to be viable, to have a viable business, right? It's the second phase of business. The first phase is startup. The second phase is viability. The third stage is scale, like having something that you could copy and paste and then scale it is what you need to do before scaling. So a business coach is what it's going to be.
Great stuff, man. This has been great. And we've talked about so much. You've just given a ton of value. Your run up, how you're, making sure that you're focusing on the seller, the homeowner, really dialing in, what types of leads and criteria you should go after to get to your end goal. All of that was gold. But, you're also helping folks out. Like, you're at a place now in just a very short period of time where you're not even focused on real estate that much. I mean, you have another passion for helping folks break through the mental barriers or any other barriers in their life with your coaching program. Tell us about it. What's the name? How can people hear more about it? And how can you help them out?
Yeah, bro. So on my journey in 2021, as I was starting to buy properties, I started to kind of see in the community that other people, although they had the same information, same access, they were struggling with imposter syndrome. They were struggling with keeping themselves motivated. And I felt like, like when you're watching a movie and you're like, don't open that door. There's somebody else behind that door. Like, I just felt like I could see people's lives. And so I started to, at the time I was helping people with sales and teaching sales on a 2-hour call in one of my mentorships. And I would do it every Tuesday. And I still do it to this day, every Tuesday. And I changed it from doing sales to mindset stuff. And I call it Transformation Tuesdays. And the reason why I do it is because the gift that I got from God, the gift that I got from hiring my high performance coach that helped me, I want to be able to help others, because like what we were able to experience, I don't want to keep that to myself. I want everyone to be able to have the same level and more success. And so that's what got me into it. And I remember the first guy that said, dude, you don't believe like you're a coach or whatever, but I'll pay you to coach me. And I took that guy. This was my first client, dude. I helped him triple his business in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. Right. And so from then on till now we have just over 100 people that has passed through my coaching program. And if someone's listening, to just come and check it out, you could go to Purpose Ways Community on Facebook. So just go on Facebook and put in like the Purpose Ways and join our free community. And there you start to see value. And then if it's something that you're interested in, then we can talk about the next steps and what that could look like to work with me and some of the groups that I have in my high performance coaching program. But dude, I just want people to see and get value before they could even want to commit to working with me. But not only that, I need to know that they're the right fit, because it takes a commitment. It takes grit. It takes resilience. And I don't like working with people that don't have those things checked off and are ready in that mental space to make that commitment to change their own lives. And so as much as I love helping people, it's the people that they're like, man, I'm ready to make the change. So Purpose Ways, W-A-Z-E, Purpose Ways, W-A-Z-E. You could put that in Facebook and join the free community. I'd love to help you guys out and to be able to inspire and impact.
Love it. Guys, head to Purpose Ways, W-A-Z-E on Facebook. And then also on Instagram, if they just want to follow what's going on with you, go on and give them the IG.
Yep. On Instagram, it's Kes on Purpose, K-E-S on Purpose. Hit me up on Instagram. Let me know how I could help. Please send me a DM. I'll get back to you and help you in any way that I possibly can. So Kes on Purpose is all my other socials is actually Kes on Purpose. YouTube, TikTok, whatever you want to find, it's going to be Kes on Purpose.
Good stuff. And guys, while you're at it, head over to sendmoreoffers.com. There's nothing for sale there, just a bunch of great information, show notes, connecting with me here in Atlanta. If you have a deal, you need help, you want to connect the dots, head over to Send More Offers. Just a bunch of great information. Nothing for sale. Just hit me up at sendmoreoffers.com. Keston, this has been great, man. You gave a lot of gems to community, and I think you have one of the most amazing stories that I personally know of and people that I know. And, I want to continue to see you go out there and crush it and build this coaching program. We're going to do a multifamily deal together one of these days. So, let's just, keep it going, bro. I'm super happy for you.
Man, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. As always, look, and folks, as I always say, send more offers, do more deals. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
That's all for this episode of the Send More Offers Real Estate Show with Brandon Barnes. But we know you're craving more knowledge to get yourself ready for that next deal. To schedule a call with Brandon to learn more about how to do deals consistently without seller appointments in a repeatable way, be sure to visit us at sendmoreoffers.com. And be sure to tune in for the next episode of the Send More Offers Real Estate Show.